Hello students, now I'm going to talk about the high latitude region, that is we'll be discussing about tundra climate in this class. Now what is tundra climate? What are the features? What are the geographical distributions, the characteristics, the flora, the fauna? I will give you all some more information in detail so that it becomes easy for you all to understand or compare two towns or cities in two different countries. Here they've compared Barrow in Alaska and Bartensburg in Norway. So, what is tundra climate? Basically, first let us understand its features. When we talk about biomes, I had last lecture we have discussed about biomes. Now, what are the biomes when we talk about this? The earth has many different environments. We know it's a different environment which vary in temperature, moisture, light, and many other factors. Each of these habitats has distinct living forms living in it. Habitat is the original place where they are used to living and the different life forms which live, forming complex communities of interdependent organisms. A complete community of plants and animals in a region and a climate is called a biome. Now, when you all talk about biome, you all should know that it is a community, a complex community of plants and animals in a region and a climate is called as a biome. A biome is a large geographical area of distinctive plant and animal groups which are adapted to that particular environment. Means all those organisms which are living in that particular environment get adapted to that kind of life. Scientists have developed the term biome to describe areas on the earth with similar climate patterns and animals. Means they are segregated with reference to the temperature, the light, the climate, the weather, and all of those similar characteristics. And that's how they have studied and they've termed biome, wherein it is used to describe the areas on the earth with similar climate, plants, and animals. Plants and animals that live in a specific biome share similar characteristics with other plants and animals in that biome throughout the world. I hope now you all have understood what the term biome exactly means. Now, what are the classification of biomes? If I talk about its terrestrial land biomes, there's tundra, there's deserts, there's grasslands. We've studied about tropical deserts, arid regions, grasslands. We've studied taiga, we studied temperate forest, equatorial rainforest. Then we've studied about, then there are aquatic biomes, which include freshwater biomes and marine biomes, that is ocean, water bodies, sea, ocean and sea related. Now, what are the factors which determine the distribution of these terrestrial biomes? The climate, very important, the latitude. Latitude can be Arctic, boreal, temperate, subtropical, and tropical. You'll have seen that this lesson also has been bifurcated in these categories: the subtropical climate, the tropical climate, the temperate, and all of that. Humidity. Now, humidity also there is humid, semi-humid, semi-arid, and arid. We've completed. Elevation is an height or an increase. Increasing elevation causes a distribution of habitat types similar to that of increasing latitudes. Now coming to tundra. Now tundra, these are some characteristics what you all can relate to and understand. It is a biome where the tree growth is hindered meaning stopped by low temperatures and short growing seasons. About 1/5 of the earth is tundra, coldest of all the biomes. This is the coldest of all the biomes. The temperature is -40 to 18 degrees. Precipitation is 150 to 250 millimeters of rain per year. Anything which is relating or which falls down from clouds, especially rain and snow, is precipitation. Okay, students, the word comes from a Finnish word and it means treeless plain. Tundra basically comes from a Finnish word. Finnish word means from Finland. Finnimaaka. It means treeless plain. The location, where is it? It's near the North Pole between 60 to 75 latitude, mostly around the Arctic coast, around North America and Eurasia. What are the soils? Geologically young, formed in the last ice age. They are nutrient poor because there is no vegetation, there is nothing. So it's nutrient pure. Under the soil of the earth is frozen and never melts. Now, due to climate change, which we'll be studying in the next chapter, global warming, the ice is melting in the Arctic Circle twice at a much bigger rate compared to what it was a few years ago. There are three types of tundra. This is for your information. It's the Arctic tundra, the alpine tundra, and the Antarctic tundra. Now, when we talk about the Arctic tundra specifically, what does it say? It's in the northern hemisphere around the North Pole, stretching south to the taiga. The climate is basically growing season, which lasts about 50 to 60 days. Winter temperatures average minus 34 degrees, and the summer temperatures is 3 to 12 degrees. The average rain and snow is 15 centimeters to 25 centimeters. What kind of plants? There is no vegetation. So there are low shrubs, sedges, mosses, liverworts, and grasses. 400 varieties of flowers and lichens. Animals, lemmings, voles, caribou, Arctic hares and squirrels, carnivore mammals, that's Arctic foxes, wolves and polar bears, all fur related animals, migratory birds, we've studied about those. There are different kinds of insects also living over here. Those are flies, moths, grasshoppers, black flies, and Arctic bumblebees. Antarctic, as it's divided into three sections. This is also, you all can go through this. It is on several Antarctic and subantarctic islands, which include South Georgia, South Sandwich Islands, and Kerguelen Islands. Then the animal life basically plants and animals. It consists of 300 to 400 lichens, mosses, terrestrial and aquatic algae species which live on the areas which are exposed to rock and soil around the shore of the continent. Some portions of the continent have areas of rocky soil. Now, Antarctica's two flowering plant species are the Antarctica hairgrass and Antarctic pearlwort, are found on the northern and western parts of the Antarctic Peninsula. This you all can go through much in detail. Just a few small pointers which I can tell you all. I am reading it to you all. Alpine also, you all can go through this. It is found on mountain tops all over the world at high altitudes where trees cannot grow. Basically, the growing season is approximately 180 days and night temperatures are below freezing point. The plants are similar to those in the Arctic tundra and included tussock grasses, dwarf trees, and small-leafed shrubs. The animals are also the different kinds of animals which can be found in the alpine tundra. The flora adaptations basically is related to the plant. Adapted their life cycles to be completely in single summer season. See, the summer season, students, in tundra region is hardly, the days are very short, and the summer is also, it's cold summer basically. So the human habitation is very low where this climate is concerned. Some grow very low to the ground to protect from frost damage. Some grow horizontally and send up many branches to keep away from dying winds and still absorb as much sunlight as possible. They group together to resist cold temperature, to stop cold temperatures and be protected from the snow. Many of them develop thick, leathery or waxy leaves. We've seen that there is a particular quality or the characteristics of these leaves. Most of these leaves are waxy. When they are waxy leaves, what happens, students? They prevent moisture loss. Some grow hair along the stems, leaves and flowers to hold heat and protect against the wind. The vegetation again is composed of all these. Mosses, lichens and dwarf shrubs are 100% there in the tundra region. Look at these plants, the pictures you all can see, the Labrador tree, bearberry, Arctic willow, lichens, very commonly grown over there. So these are the kind of plants which grow over there. Then the fauna adaptations. Fauna is all animal related. Now, what about the fauna adaptation? The most common adaptation is thick layer of fur. Definitely, if you all see any part of the region where it is cold and it's extreme polar regions, basically there are animals which are covered with fur. So they have a thick layer of fur or feathers to hold the heat close to their bodies. Some of the animals' fur turns white during the winter to hide it in the snow and protect them from predators. It is so white that it camouflages with the environment so that the predators cannot attack them. Many large animals have compact body shapes that help them keep more heat than if their bodies were long and thin. Many animals avoid the cold by migrating, and some animals build up a layer of fat over the summer. Now, this is the natural processes what these animals go through, where they build up a layer of fat over the summer, which provides energy and food while keeping them warm during the harsh winters. Some of them may burrow into the snow to avoid harsh, frigid temperatures and winds. It's hibernation, it's long sleep, what all I've heard of. So, which are the animals which are found over there? The Arctic fox, the caribou, emine, grizzly bear, a bear, Harkleen duck, muskox, polar bear, and snowy owl. Have a look at these animals. They are milky white. They look beautiful when you look at them. Quite a few have become extinct given the biggest reason is the climate change and all of that. So there's owl, sorry, there's the Arctic hare, the musk hawks, Arctic white fox, grizzly bear, and emine. Now, the threats on tundra. What are the threats on tundra? The melting of the permafrost. Permafrost basically when a particular land is frozen for at least 2 consecutive years is called permafrost. It is any ground. I mean, what does permafrost exactly mean? It is any ground that remains completely frozen or colder for at least 2 years straight. So it consists of soil, gravel, and sand, which are bound together by ice. So we cannot see that all what is there underneath. It's just bound together by ice. So the threats to tundra, basically the melting of the permafrost as a result of global warming could radically change the landscape and what species are able to live there. The ozone layer is depleting at the north and south poles. We are very well aware of this climate change. Air pollution can cause smog, clouds that contaminate lichens, a significant food source for many animals. Exploration of oil, gas, and minerals, and construction of pipelines and roads can cause physical disturbances and habitat fragmentation. So this can disturb the overall ecosystem basically. Oil spills what can happen? It can kill wildlife and can significantly damage the tundra ecosystems. Now, due to this, all the research which is going on in the Arctic Circle or the pole areas, there are many scientists who have settled down who are trying to very deeply study what are the issues which are going to bother the world population. So this also crosses a lot of you can say lot of traffic over there, wherein people are studying, scientists are studying the due to climate change, as it is the climate is changing very badly, rapidly, rampantly. So all of this puts heat and pressure, like buildings and roads are coming up. So it puts heat and pressure on the permafrost, causing it to melt. What are the solutions? Now the solutions to this is switch to alternative energy used to minimize human-made global warming, establish protected areas and park reserves to restrict human influence, limit road construction, mining activities, and all of that. Limit tourism and respect local cultures. Now, if we come to this, tundra climate on page 54, what have they told us is the geographical distribution. I have already told you all: Eurasia, Antarctica, Peninsula, and some polar islands. Now, what are the climatic characteristics? The summer temperatures are around 10 degrees, winter temperatures around -20 to -30. There's low evaporation, 100%, because of the climate. Precipitation around 300 to 500 millimeters in the form of snow. There's coastal fog, strong winds. Proximity to coasts. When we talk about proximity, basically it means nearness to the coast. Polar anticyclones near to permafrost. Permafrost, as I've already told you, explained you what does that mean. Now the tundra vegetation in detail, I have told you all what kind of vegetation we can see. And swamps. What are swamps during melting? Basically they are wetlands with wild plants. So swamps is nothing but wetlands with wild plants. Mineral and oil resources, animals with fur, many animals, mammals, all of that we can see. Seal, walrus, hunting and fishing. And Inuits. Inuits are nothing but where these Eskimos, as in they stay. So the places where they stay, the house or the habitat which they stay in is Inuits. They are called Inuits. Now we come to the next ice sheet. But before I come to ice sheet, I want to get certain terms clear with you all. So let's understand what are the certain terms what we can talk about. Now glaciers. They are basically rivers of ice that move very slowly. Now what are ice sheets? Mass of glacier that covers surrounding land and is greater than 50,000 square kilometers, which is also called continental glaciers. So I wanted to, before I get into the this topic, high latitude regions ice sheet, I wanted you all to know what exactly ice sheets are. So we very well know what are glaciers. They are basically rivers of ice that move very slowly. And mass of glacier I that covers surrounding land and is greater than 50,000 square kilometers is called continental glacier. Now glaciers, basically the amount of snow that falls must be more than the amount of snow that melts each year. Wherein ice sheet, snow falls in winter and it doesn't melt all the way in summer. Glaciers, now there's a difference between glaciers and ice sheets. They were founded where large amounts of snow falls each year and is cold around. Mostly found in Antarctica and Greenland, but can be found on almost all continents, even Africa. Ice sheets, basically they are in Antarctica and Greenland and they cover most of these two. So ice sheet, basically what we are going to concentrate on is Antarctica and Greenland, and they are permanently frozen portions of the ocean. So they cover most of these two. About 3/4 of Earth fresh water is glaciers, largest reservoirs of fresh water on our planet. If the Greenland ice sheets melt, see, this is the situation. The next lesson is totally based on climate change and global warming. So please understand this very well, the differentiation and the terms, so that you all can really understand what does climate change mean and how is it harming our present. If the Greenland ice sheets melt, it would cause sea levels to rise 20 feet all around the world. Now, when we talk about a polar climate region, the polar regions, when we talk about these, they are the deserts of ice and snow swept by powerful winds. 20% of Earth consists of polar regions. The average range of temperature is less than 10 degrees. Look at this, how it looks. This is a picture of how does a polar region look like. They lack warm summers. The sun shines for long hours in summers and fewer hours in winters. Cool summers and very cold winters. The polar climate results in treeless tundra. We already discussed about it. Tundra is treeless region. Glaciers, semi-permanent layer of ice, and some places permanent layer of ice. That is Greenland and Antarctica. What are the facts of these polar regions? These ice sheets, what we are talking about, they are found in north and south poles of the earth. The average rainfall is less than 250 millimeters per year. The temperature range is minus 88 to 10 degrees. What are the types? What I just discussed was tundra climate, alpine climate. Now there's ice cap climate. The tundra climate, to put it very short, at least 1 month whose average temperature is above 0 degrees. No trees grow over there. There are some specialized plants which can grow. The ice cap, no month of year contains temperature above 0 degrees. Means this is always maintaining a temperature of 0 degrees centigrade. Ice layer remains throughout the year. Look at the tundra region and the Antarctica region. The locations, only Antarctica contain predominant ice cap polar climate. The tundra contains coastal areas of Greenland. Now, before we start off with ice sheet, these are certain facts which you all need to be aware of. These are certain differences or bifurcations, or how we have differentiated amongst these terminologies, and how you all are going to put it into your answering is what is important. Fauna of polar regions is Arctic region in tundra. Arctic owls, snowy owls, polar bears and reindeer are already there. Same as tundra basically. The fauna also over here, animals of polar climate region contain following general properties. They are warm-blooded animals. Fauna, see students, flora is plants and fauna is about animals. So basically over here these animals are warm-blooded animals. They maintain a body temperature, and they some contain fur and feathers. We already know of some birds and animals which have fur. What are the general properties of fauna? Layer of fat blubber. Now when I already told you during tundra climate that there is a layer of fat basically which covers them up through the and keeps them warm and protected. That is called blubber under their skin. They take enough food or generate heat. Some do huddling. Huddling is together in groups for protection from wind. So that's a way of protecting themselves from the cold, is to be in groups so that they are protected from wind. Now flora, basically conifers, grasses, mosses, lichens, small trees which grow during short periods. Look at the flora of polar region. Now these are all the animals which you all can see. There are animals and plants which are there. Weddell seal, polar bear, wild yaks is there in Ladakh, snow leopards, stork, bald eagle, yellow-eyed penguin. We are well aware of a penguin, the chin-strap penguin. There are different classes in penguins also, the red fox, the wild fox, American pika, tundra swan, elk, snow peddler, bighorn sheep, stork, Antarctic prion, all these are walruses, Cape petrel. So all these animals you will not find them very easily in any part of the world, barring these polar regions, that's Greenland, Antarctica, or the other places like Eurasia and Peninsula, North America. All of these places have these animals. So today in this lecture, what I have completed is tundra climate, and I have just given you all a brief information about the ice sheets. So the next class I'll be doing ice sheets, and the last type of climate, that will be the mountain type of climate. So that will get us to an end with the 4th chapter. Thank you, class.